A couple of months back, I attended the first autocross event of my entire life after a nudge or three from a friend of mine who had himself just started autocrossing a little over a year ago. So, not knowing what to expect, I took the C6 to that first event, and I was absolutely amazed at how well it was glued to the track. Now, I'm no stranger to accelerating rapidly or going fast, but turning that steering wheel while the tires are at or near the limit of adhesion with the pavement, now that's new to me, and that's what I find the most exhilarating and exciting about autocross. And perhaps one of the best things about autocrossing is that you get a ton of seat time with very little risk to damaging your vehicle or your body. And there's no risk of getting a speeding ticket or a reckless driving ticket, and of course the insurance premium hikes that would be sure to follow. At that first autocross event with the C6, I left the active handling and the traction control on 100%, and I was incredibly impressed with how they made sure that I didn't even come close to spinning out. But as the day progressed, I kept pushing it harder and harder, and they kept pushing back even more. They pushed back often and a lot to make sure that I stayed on the track. The only negative about the whole experience was that when I got back to the shop, I took a look at the C5 and I felt guilty that she had to sit here all alone while this one got to go out and play. So I felt horrible, but after a day or two, my conscience was clear. Now it's time to attend my second autocross, and this time I'm going to take the Supercharged C5. Now both cars have the base suspensions of each of their generations, which essentially means that the front and the rear sway bars are smaller in diameter than the sway bars that you would have got with the Z51 package or the Z06 with each of the respective generations. So what I'm trying to say is I think the handling characteristics of the C5 are going to be pretty similar, especially to a knob like me, as I experienced with the C6. Oh, and to be clear, there are more differences to the various suspensions offered in each generation than just the size of the sway bars. The two other main characteristic changes would be spring rates for the composite leaf springs, front and rear, and also different valving and size, physical size of the shock absorbers for the various suspension packages. However, for the purposes of this video, we don't need to go that far into the weeds. Now, as far as horsepower goes, the Supercharged C5 has at least 225 more horsepower peak than the C6 does, but due to the relatively small size of the track we'll be going to, and it'll probably just be, midway through second gear, I only expect to have somewhere between 50 and 75 additional horsepower on tap with a C5, so that should not be a huge difference. That having been said, let's not forget I am an absolute autocross knob, rookie, virgin, whatever you want to call it, so it really probably doesn't matter which car I would be in. It's probably going to take me around the same amount of time to make a lap around the track. But one thing's for sure, I am there to have fun, so I can probably peg a 10 out of 10 on the having fun scale in either car, so let's get started. Oh, and on the vehicle preparation side of things, all I'm really going to do is make sure all four tires start with the same amount of air pressure, which they should be at anyway, and I'm going to add 1 extra quart of oil per the owner's manual since I will be engaging in competitive driving. And this is just done to make sure that oil pickup screen never sucks in any air, which it probably wouldn't anyway since it's such a small track, but it's better to be safe than sorry. We are at the track, and today they've got it divided into a longer, faster east course and a shorter, tighter turn west course. The cool thing is you are free to run as many times as you want on one or both courses, and that's exactly what I'll be doing. Now, I've already ran a few times on each course to get familiar with it, and now I'm going to hit the east course several times in a row to see if I can improve my times. first time run was 47.92 seconds, and after a bunch of additional runs, here's my fastest lap on the East course. Now let's try the same thing on the West course, and here's my first recorded run. Looks like I may need to upgrade my rear camera mount, as it clearly has failed the lateral stability test with all of these tight turns. Let's try the West course again, this time with a front camera mount. So my first time run on the West course is 28.7 seconds, and after about 10 more attempts, here is my best lap on the West course.
Ken's tearing it up, Corey.
Yeah, you guys are good whenever.
Nice. What was your score before?
I don't know.
I think 27 is really good.
So during the course of the day, I did get somewhere around 25 runs in, and keep in mind I did take a break about every 5 runs or so to let the car and myself cool down a little bit, and of course talk to other drivers, especially Corvette drivers. Now it's been a few days and I've been thinking about ways that I might get a little bit faster at autocross in the future, and here are the thoughts that have come to my mind. Number 1, simply more seat time. Getting more comfortable and used to the lateral limits of the car should allow me to get and stay closer to that edge in the future without going over, which of course will make you faster. Number 2, have a skilled autocross coach in the passenger seat to help me learn how to better read an autocross track so that I can find the most efficient path through the course, which will make me quicker. And of course, the coach can also help me with proper braking and other veteran tips. Number 3, mount GoPros to each side of the car so that I can actually see how close I'm coming to the cones. If it turns out I'm a few feet away from the cones, that's way too far, and by tightening things up, I should be able to get around the course much quicker. Number 4, these autocross guys are pretty serious, so I'm thinking I can probably find a deal on some used Z06 sway bars, which will keep my car flatter, allowing the tires to have more grip, which should make me faster around the corners. Number 5, along those same lines, if I had softer tires, that would of course allow me to carry more speed through the corners and make the lap times a bit quicker. What about you guys? What do you think about the items that were on my list and the order in which I had them listed? Let me know in the comments below if I missed anything. I know there are some enthusiasts out there for autocross, and I promise you, I'm a sponge. That's going to do it for this one, guys. Since you made it to the end, tap that thumbs up below. If you come here often, consider subscribing. And most of all, thanks for watching.